Hi there, and welcome to the Clear Skin Essentials. I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So, today I want to give 5 tips to vegans and vegetarians that are struggling to clear up their acne. I know that for a lot of people it's really frustrating because you go onto a plant-based diet and maybe you've been told that as long as you eat a vegan or vegetarian diet, you're going to clear up your skin, and suddenly you're not getting the results you want to be getting. So today I want to share actually a few things that you can do to your diet to start clearing up your skin. Myself, I used to be a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian for 25 years, and during those 25 years, there was many times I was also a vegan as well as also being a raw vegan too. I did that for about 4 years. So during those 25 years I was a vegetarian, I would say there was points where my skin was at its worst, and there's points where my skin was at its best. And so I learned along my journey was that being a vegetarian or vegan for some people isn't enough to clear up your skin, and that there's a little bit more you've got to do or change or adjust in your diet to start getting results. Okay, so what are the 5 suggestions I have for all of you that perhaps are vegan or vegetarian right now and you're struggling? So number 1 is make sure that you're eating real food. Okay, this is a big one, is that for a lot of people that first get onto a vegan or vegetarian diet is that in your mind you might be thinking as long as it's not meat you can eat it. And what ends up happening is that for a lot of vegans and vegetarians is that maybe they don't know how to cook, or they don't know how to prepare whole foods or vegetables and all that they end up eating a lot of processed food, a lot of bread, a lot of pasta, a lot of just refined foods, and thinking that because it's not meat, it's okay. But eating bread and pasta all the time is not very nutritious. It's not very good for your health. And so it's very important that you get back to the basics. What is eating whole, real foods? And that includes eating vegetables, it includes eating whole grains and beans and legumes and nuts and seeds and fruit and things like that. Real foods, not powdered down foods like bread and pasta. Okay, so number 1, fresh, real foods. That should be the bulk of what you're eating. Okay, number 2 would be having more vegetables. Everyone with adult acne needs to be eating more vegetables, because out of all the foods, vegetables are kind of like your power food. This is the food that's going to help clear up your skin, because the thing with vegetables is that it's got a lot of properties and benefits to it for your skin. Okay, number 1 is that it's alkaline and it's anti-inflammatory. And acne itself and breakouts and pimples, all that is inflammatory skin conditions. Okay, and the thing is that you want to decrease the inflammation in your skin, and the best way of doing that is to be eating foods that are anti-inflammatory, and that's vegetables. And when I'm talking about vegetables, I'm not just talking about potatoes. I'm talking about green leafy vegetables. I'm talking about cruciferous vegetables. I'm talking about every single vegetable out there, fresh herbs, sprouts, seaweeds. The more variety you have, and the more that you're bringing it into your diet throughout the day, the better. So one thing I recommend to all vegans and vegetarians would be to be eating 1 large green salad a day, at least 1, and to be making sure that you're including vegetables in your lunches and your dinners. And if you can, also in your breakfast. You should be eating vegetables all the time, because that will help to reduce breakouts. It'll help when you do have a breakout, it'll help it speed up and heal quicker. Plus, it'll reduce the redness, the irritation, and the swelling of your skin as well. It'll pretty much just help to support your skin to heal. Okay, so it's really, really important to really load up on vegetables. Number 3 would be also to watch out with carbohydrates. Okay, and this is a tough one. Okay, because I'm like a vegetarian diet is pretty much, on the most part, it's going to be a high carbohydrate diet, okay, because it's most vegetarian or vegan or plant-based foods are high in carbs. And sometimes you can actually create a low-carb vegetarian diet, and for some people that works. But for the most part, most people that are eating a plant-based diet are eating a lot of carbohydrates, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, and for some people it does not affect their skin. No matter how much carbohydrates is in their diet, it doesn't give them breakouts, and that's great. But for some of you, especially if you're dealing with hormonal breakouts, or you might even have hormone imbalances that's causing you to have acne, that a lot of times is connected to the amount of carbohydrates you're having. And sometimes it's that your body just can't tolerate certain carbohydrates, but it's fine having others. So one thing I recommend, again, to all vegans and vegetarians, is to really reduce or cut out flour in your diet. Okay, you don't need to be eating foods made with flour. Okay, so that's the pastas and the breads. You really don't need to be having that. And once in a while, as like a condiment, that's okay, but that shouldn't be the bulk of your diet, because things that are made out of flour are also throwing your blood sugar up and down and all over the place, which in turn is causing your breakouts. So start with cutting out the flour. After that, I would also suggest, if you're not seeing improvements in your skin after a few weeks of cutting flour out of your diet, then start either looking into the fruits you're eating or whole grains. Because for some of you, it might be that your body just can't tolerate the fruit, or having high glycemic fruits like tropical fruits like mango and pineapple and melons, things like that, that it's just too much of a sugar load, and it affects your skin. And a lot of times it might just be that you either need to decrease the amount of fruit you're eating, or you need to replace sort of the high sugar fruits with more low sugar fruits like berries and apples and pears, things like that. So you can do an experiment with cutting down on fruit and see how that goes with your skin, or you can also do an experiment with cutting down on whole grains, okay, and see how that affects your skin. And a lot of times it's not necessarily about completely cutting out the whole grains, but it might be that like you need to cut the quantities you're having in half or by a quarter. You know, it's reducing that, or completely taking a break to see what happens. The main thing is that when you're adjusting the carbohydrates in your diet, you don't want to be doing everything at once. You don't want to be cutting out the fruit and the whole grains all at one time, because then you don't know which one's causing you a problem and which one isn't. Okay, so my suggestion is kind of like start with one thing, do an experiment with it for at least 2 to 4 weeks, if not longer, to see how your skin's responding. And if you start noticing that, wow, you know, if I'm not eating mangoes all the time, my skin is getting better, then you know it has to do with the fruit. And then you can do further experiments. I know for myself, when I was a vegetarian, that for me was the big one. That's how I went from having like the worst skin in the world to completely clearing it up, was that I really had to be mindful with the carbohydrates I was eating. Okay, and it wasn't that I cut out carbohydrates from my diet, it was that I really had to be selective with which ones I was having and not overdoing it. So I was eating fruit, but I wasn't eating fruit all day. And if I was, and I was having like a lot of tropical fruits, I would get cystic acne very, very quickly. And so I knew that that was definitely connected. Okay, so some of you will have issues with fruit, some of you it might be whole grains, and sometimes it's a combination of both. So do the experiments. Another suggestion I have too is being very, very cautious with soy products and the faux meat products. Okay, so soy products, the only soy products that I recommend vegans and vegetarians eating would be real soybean products. So that would be like tofu or tempeh, or having edamame beans, like the real, it's a real soybean. Not having processed soy products like soy milk, don't drink soy milk, don't have soy cheese, soy ice cream, soy protein powder, none of that, because all of that's been refined down. And a lot of times the issue with soy products is that they have naturally occurring phytoestrogens in them that could be messing up your hormones. Plus, I find that the processed soy products are really hard to digest, and some people are even allergic to them. And that could very well be what's causing your acne and breakouts. So my suggestion is, if you're watching this now and you're like, wow, I drink soy milk like every day, and I use like soy margarine, and I have tofu hot dogs all the time, and like those like faux meat products at the health food store, I would cut those things out of your diet. And instead, if you're looking for a protein source, I would go more towards having whole grains, beans and legumes, and vegetables, because all of those have a huge wide array of amino acids and proteins, and they can be just as more healthy for you and just as effective as giving you the proteins that you need. Okay, so move away from the soy and move more towards other whole foods. And lastly, this is just for vegetarians, is vegetarians with acne must cut out dairy products from your diet. Vegans already cut the dairy products out, but the vegetarians must also do that. You can still have eggs. Eggs are, for most part, won't be affecting your skin, or at least not with acne. But the milk products like cow's milk or butter or cream or yogurt, kefir, goat's milk, all of that, whey powder, protein powder, all of that needs to go, because that very well could be what's causing your acne. And again, don't be replacing milk products with soy milk. Okay, if you do need to have something that's like creamy, my suggestion is to either make your own almond milk, like homemade almond milk, where you're blending the almonds up with water and straining it, or to have fresh coconut milk or fresh coconut cream. I would not be having soy milk, definitely not. And I would avoid also the package, like the store-bought almond milks or rice milks, all of that, because a lot of times if you read the ingredients, they're full of like hydrogenated oils and high fructose corn syrup and all this weird stuff. Unless you can find like a really pure product, I would just kind of avoid any of those packaged fake milks, because it could very well be connected to your breakouts and acne, and you're just better off moving away from that completely. All right, so these are my 5 suggestions for vegans and vegetarians that want to clear up their skin. And also I want to mention too that I have a program. It's a masterclass. It's a video masterclass. It's called Acne Causing Health Foods Masterclass. And what it is it's for those of you that are already more kind of like advanced in your health journey. You're already eating healthy, but you're having breakouts. And this program is specifically for those of you that you're eating healthy and you're like, why am I still having acne and breakouts? And I go through all the health foods that could very well be giving you breakouts and acne, and also the health foods you need to be adding into your diet to help to reduce and prevent breakouts. And these health foods are not what most people know are actually causing their breakouts and acne. It's a great course. This is like pretty much like 20 years of me being like obsessed with like what's causing acne and what's not, and how to sort of perfect and refine an already healthy diet to getting clear skin and just eating foods that are supporting the health of your skin and all of that. So if you need more help with your diet, I strongly recommend this course, and I'll put the link below. All right, have a fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.